and sulk up in your room, David? Come on back. Mother Endor will comb you. Oh, come on now. You want to be a pretty chimp, don't you? Hold your voice in the back of the throat.
If you like to gamble, I tell you I'm your man. You win some, lose some, it's all the same to me.
Hold your voice. Hold your voice. The back of the throat. Hold your voice. The back of the throat.
Would you mind not breathing in my face, sport?
This is Regan Lawler, and you are listening to That Twilighty Show About That Zone. And today we're going to talk about the episodes Little Girl or Lost and Person or Persons Unknown. Stay tuned or don't. I don't care. I'm 10. I have a life. You look like you're about to sneeze.
Thank you. Welcome to That Twilighty Show About That Zone. I'm David Lawler, and I'm joined tonight, and today, actually, it's a Sunday. It's a very nice Sunday, April 30th, I believe, 4:56 p.m. And we have to do this before Mommy starts dinner, because she makes Sunday dinner for me. Anyway, we're joined by our daughter here, Regan Lawler. How you doing, Regan?
Howdy, I'm good.
That's all you got to say?
Yeah.
Say something a little bit more. As you're 10, I'm sure you have a lot of things to talk about, and try to lean into the mic a little bit more.
All I have to talk about is that I'm obsessed with a Roblox game called The Normal Elevator. I'm done now.
And she's done. So this is a long time coming, and it's something I've been hyping a lot with my guests and everything, talking about that I was going to have my daughter on the show. And it seems like my fellow podcast brethren, they tend to, maybe with the exception of Brandon Cruz and Craig Beam, tend not to incorporate their family members into their shows or something like that. It's a little unusual. But, I mean, it's not like this is a world unto podcasters where we want to keep our family out and bring in guests.
That's actually kind of, I don't know, because a family member is a guest that you can bring in anytime you want because you're related to them and you know where they are.
Yeah. I can trap you and corner you, as I've done today. So today we're going to talk about the episodes Little Girl Lost and Persons or Persons Unknown. Person or Persons. Hard to do that title. But I remember that you really liked this episode, Little Girl Lost, and unfortunately you have to deal with the second episode as well. Mm. So first, tell me, Regan, well, I know the answer to the question, but a lot of people don't. Maybe they'd like you to answer. Do you watch The Twilight Zone?
I do. I do sometimes. When I get the chance to, I do.
You mean like when I force you to watch an episode?
Not force, but just like if I see you're watching it, I'll tune in unless I have to go to school.
Okay. You can't see, but she made one of her crazy faces, whatever that is. So this I actually like this episode a lot, and it's enormously influential on a lot of other things. Most particularly, the title of this podcast, Regan, is called That Twilighty Show About That Zone. Do you know where that title comes from? Why I came up with it?
I think you said Family Guy?
No. Similar. The Simpsons.
Oh, never mind.
There was an episode of The Simpsons that borrows heavily from this episode, where Homer winds up in a three-dimensional universe, and he says, "This is a lot like that Twilighty show about that zone." And it's there's a portal through into another dimension in the wall.
I'll take my chances in a mystery wall. Oh, glory of glories. Oh, heavenly testament to the eternal majesty of God's creation. Holy macaroni!
Hey, you can just suck 'em out.
Hello? Can anybody hear me?
Homer, where are you?
I'm somewhere where I don't know where I am.
Do you see towels? If you see towels, you're probably in the linen closet again.
Just a second. No, it's a place I've never been before.
The shower.
Hey! I don't want to alarm you, Marge, but I seem to be trapped in here.
We better call Ned. He has a ladder.
What's going on here? I'm so bulgy. My stomach sticks way out in front and my...
And they even mark it off in the same way that our physicist friend in this episode marks it off.
Physicist friend.
Now, what happens? Let's get into it a little bit. And we have some live clips that we're going to show. What happens is we're in the middle of the night. I guess everybody's off to bed. You have a husband and wife and their daughter.
Yep.
And a dog.
A very loud dog.
So this is the first clip. This is 109 on the video file.
Look at it.
You going?
Just put my slippers on.
If I'm not mistaken, that's June Foray doing that
All
voice.
right, sweetheart, I'm coming.
It's
Hush up, Mac.
feeling. It shouldn't be as loud as it is, because if she's like in a different universe, it shouldn't be as loud.
What's the matter, baby?
She's not in her bed.
What'd you do? Fall off? Come on. What'd you do? Roll underneath?
Daddy.
All right, honey, I'm right here. Now, come on out. Come on, you just crawl underneath the bed. Tina. Come on, take my hand. Come on. In the...
Just look under the bed, dude.
All right. Just a minute.
Chris, what is it?
I don't know.
Ah!
And then we have Stalker Man.
Missing one frightened little girl. Name Bettina Miller. Description 6 years of age, average height and build. Light brown hair, quite pretty. Last seen being tucked in bed by her mother a few hours ago. Last heard, aye, there's the rub, as Hamlet put it. For Bettina Miller can be heard quite clearly, despite the rather curious fact that she can't be seen at all. Present location? Let's say for the moment, in the Twilight Zone.
All right. Good intro there from Rod. Now she has gone into this other place that kind of looks like a reflection of a Christmas ornament if you look at it really close, or maybe a snow globe kind of a thing.
I always say that, oh, look, she teleported into a snow globe.
Now the thing is, I have to ask you, because you're a little girl yourself, right? Are you predisposed to be looking around for parallel dimensions to enter into behind your bed?
I would explore.
Would you explore? Would you be crying and letting, Daddy, Mommy?
It's not gonna be like that.
You know, the thing is, if I hear that in the middle of the night, I would relieve myself into my pants for lack of a toilet. If I heard that, I'm trying to be polite here because, you know, it's a family show, as it were, and it really literally is a family show. So, what can you tell me about your thoughts on this episode? What do you think about it?
It's interesting. The fact that you can hear the dog barking in the beginning, kind of interesting, because the fact that the dog goes and enters the portal with her later on.
Right.
Because the dog must be like...
What's the dog's name? Mac?
Probably.
He's not very nice to that dog. I mean, like the dog's barking outside. They leave the dog outside, right?
And the dog actually cares about the girl because he's like, I want to know where she's going to.
In the end, the dog is the hero. Really. Not the physicist friend, which is, we'll get into that in a minute. He's not very nice to the dog. He's an outside dog at night, right? He's outside, so he can go do whatever he wants. And he's like, he's barking, and the guy is saying, shut up, Mac. Just shut up. It's like, shut up, Iris. Shut up.
And the dog is a small dog, meaning it's like, it's the type of dog you could actually keep indoors.
Yeah, he is an indoor dog, but if you notice here, look at the freeze frame of the shot. They have indoor carpeting, wall-to-wall carpeting. Mm-hmm. And back then, I don't know how it is with dog owners these days, but you generally keep the dog off the carpet.
True.
All right, so we move forward. Let's move forward in the story. The husband here, I don't have the names handy, I'm sorry. He contacts his physicist friend. Because we all have physicist friends, don't we?
He's just pretty lucky. He's like, well, let's see. I'll look at my phone, but go right, I'll pick this guy. Because he's tired, basically. Because he just woke
It's
up.
the middle of the night. Everybody's in their pajamas. And house coats and everything else.
What's up, Chris?
Tina woke us up with her crying. So I went into the bedroom and I couldn't. I let the dog in and he went out of the bed and he's gone too.
I like how the mom is completely wrecked. She is gone. The physicist friend is looking under the couch.
That's not a couch.
Let's move the bed.
Oh, Bill, where is she? I'm about to lose my mind.
Hold on, Ruth. She's breathing normally. She must be all right. Now, wait a second.
Under the couch?
We better mark where the legs go.
Looking in the bed.
Here.
What are we doing? We're lifting the bed, apparently. It seems... Okay. It seems as though he knows exactly what to do. It's like his friend was like, wait a minute, I'm going to call my physicist friend because he had the exact same thing happen to him one time. I can come over here and help us out.
Still there?
Look, even
Yes.
Wait, hang on.
Oh, you've felt all over here.
Yes.
And?
Nothing.
Okay.
They should totally do a TV show about this guy. Call him Physicist at Large. He's there to help you solve your physics problems.
Such as when physics doesn't exist.
The opening, maybe.
The opening to what?
The police.
I'm not sure.
What is he doing? It looks like he's doing an interpretive dance.
It was as if you were going to step on her.
No.
What is he doing, honey?
Are you sure that you felt all over here?
Well, maybe not every single
You don't
inch.
have to yell, dude. Angry white guys back then.
Just don't get it. Now, wait.
All right, now I'm going to pause it here at 9:28. And
Great shot.
so the idea here is that Tina has gone into the alternate world or alternate universe or alternate dimension.
The universe of Snow Globe.
The universe of the snow globe. Christmas ornament, I think. And so the movie Poltergeist, I know you haven't seen it yet because it's a little too much for you.
I saw a clip of it and I was like, nope, bye.
The idea is also that, you have him tethered to this world as he goes into that world to try and rescue his daughter. And also, Mac disappears into there. And he's like, hold on to Mac. Mac will lead you home. Come on, Mac. Here, boy. Here, boy. And then they get her out. They rescue her. Mm-hmm. And it's a weird situation there.
Tina?
Yes.
Hang on tight.
Hi, Mama. Where are you, Dad?
Does he look a little messed up? He looks like he's had a few.
Just hang on and tight.
Look, for some reason, I don't know why, but the dog is pulling on the girl. I don't know how they're managing it.
Come on, Matt. Hurry, Chris.
I really like the music, too, I have to say that.
Can you see her?
No. Wait a minute.
She's very pretty. She has dark hair. She has, like, a kind of weird bangs or something.
Come on. That's right.
Maybe the
Mac, you know what Mac looks like? He looks like Tiger from Brady Bunch.
Okay, I got him.
And pull.
All right, now hold on tight. You got a good grip on me. A good one.
Not a little weird.
I'm gonna get her out of this room.
Okay, so that's pretty much everything that we need to know about Little Girl Lost from the clips.
What happened?
So what are your final thoughts on this episode?
How could you see me?
Half of you were still here.
You mean to say you had hold of me all this time?
That's right.
We already had this conversation a little bit, but I just want to add to it. Like, if I had that kind of situation, I went behind my bed for some reason, and then I saw this weird universe of Snowglobia, it would be like...
Snowglobia.
I'd be like, all right, well, there's a bunch of foam under my feet. And I'd look back and see that, and I'd just be like, all right, bye, guys.
You would try to figure out a way home instead of just
crying
for mommy and daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's good. I raised you right. Always figure out your own problems. Then it makes it easier for other people to help you instead of just being a little girl lost, as it were. I love this episode. I think it's a fantastic episode. It's one of my favorites. It's in my top 10. Definitely.
I was very interested in it the first time I saw it very early in the morning, but I saw it because you were playing it like you were asleep and you were also playing the show, because you do that, you play a show while you're asleep.
Yeah, I like to have the TV running. Helps me go to bed.
And when I'm eating my breakfast, that episode comes on and I'm interested in it.
That's interesting. This is why I think Mommy clued me in that you wanted to watch the episode proper, actually sit and watch the episode. So I showed it to you. And then that's when I got the idea in the back of my head, I should have Regan on as a guest for this show. Why not? It belongs in my top 10. I love it. I think it's great. And the next episode that we're going to go into now, Person or Persons Unknown, is another top 10 favorite of mine. I love it. It's fantastic. All right, we move on to Person or Persons Unknown, the episode after Little Girl Lost. I had to force you to watch it because we do 2 episodes every podcast.
You
right?
made me watch it twice.
Made you watch it twice just to keep you fresh. I wanted to keep you fresh because I know how little girls' brains go. You forget about things the minute you're done with them. After we're done podcasting this episode, you'll have totally forgotten about these.
Actually, no.
Actually, yes. I disagree. I would have to disagree.
You can disagree all you want. I don't care.
Okay. So we start off with a poor, terrible man named Dave Gurney.
Actually, isn't he rich? Look at all that.
You have to understand something about the quality of life back then. People were living very well. He works. His wife. We have to assume, because we have to fill in a lot of blanks in this episode. This is interesting. We have to assume that his wife doesn't work, that she's like a housewife or something like that. But they have no children, which is very interesting. He has a job as an executive, I guess, at a bank. So you have to assume he does make a good amount of money. He's not into manual labor or whatever. He's probably living a decent, I'm going to say upper middle class lifestyle. Between middle and upper. There was no middle and upper or lower back then in the middle class. When you were in the middle class, you were comfortable. You had a home. You had a car. You had some collateral. But these two look a little bit older, and there's no kids in the picture. So I'm assuming either they can't have kids, or they chose not to, or they got together late. You're making a lot of assumptions with this episode because we know very little about him except what he reveals to the audience, and there's no logic to it. Again, I harp on this constantly, but my favorite Twilight Zone episodes are the ones that have no inherent logic to them. They don't give you much information, and you kind of have to fill in the blanks yourself.
Yeah.
Like Little Girl Lost and this episode, and the one with William Shatner with the gremlin on the wing of the plane, things like that.
Gremlin.
Mannequins coming to life, things like that have no logic. So this is... Okay, go ahead.
With episodes like these, when you're watching it, it's like 50% theory.
You're absolutely right. It is half and half theory. It's their theory and then yours, and then it comes together.
I was late to work, but so what? No skin off your pretty little nose, right? Oh, boy. What a wife.
For some reason, Siren has decided to
wife.
Apparently
You could have at least taken my shoes off, you know.
Are you waiting for food? Just waiting for dinner. He's gonna.
Stupid party in the first place.
What's really fantastic about this is that he's gonna go over and slap his wife on the ass, and as far as she knows, she's not married to him. Doesn't know who he is.
Well, I go to work and suffer all day, and she sacks out until noon. That's fair. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, what next? Wilma! Wilma, what have you done with my razor? Hey, come on, wake up. Oh, come on, will you? I'm late. Wilma. Hey. Now, never mind the dramatics. Just tell me where you put my razor. Don't do that! What's the matter with you? You sick or something?
Who are you?
What?
Who are you? What are you doing in my bedroom?
You mean this isn't the YMCA? Honey, will you knock it off? I'm late. Now, just tell me where you put the razor. Darling, I am in no mood for jokes.
You get out of here.
Wilma.
How do you know my name?
It's on the marriage certificate, remember?
Oh, mister, I've never seen you before in all my life.
All right, let's cut before we get to Mr. Sterling there. He's Dave Gurney's very much the white male reality, isn't he? He was like, now let's stop with all the histrionics and tell me where my razor is, baby, because we're married, damn it. What do you think of the guy upon first inspection?
Another walking definition of sarcasm?
Yeah, I guess.
I've seen many in my life.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely a sarcastic person, as it were. Yeah, he's not very likable. Maybe he's in a bad mood because he drank too much the previous night and he's in a hangover situation, so he got up and, I don't know, whatever was going on at the time, right? He's a fill-in-the-blanks character because we don't know what he was before. But he understands very quickly that people are starting not remembering him or whatever it is. This is like punishment in a way. That's how I see it. How do you see it?
The same way you do, it's like punishment. And the way he will, apparently, he did something. And this is the world's way of getting back at him.
There was a very similar episode in Season 5, Stopover in a Quiet Town, I think it's called, where you have a couple that wakes up in a bed, and they're still fully clothed, and they had a bender. They got really wrecked the previous night. And they wake up, and they wind up in a weird town that is a play set for a child. They are really small, and the child is really, really big. So it's like some kind of a metaphor, I guess, for self-destruction or something like that. Whatever it is at this particular stage, this guy had a little too much to drink. He gets up. Everybody doesn't know who he is. He goes to his job. No one recognizes him, of course. They call the cops because he works at a bank, right? Mm-hmm. You don't want to have anybody like that all messed up at a bank. They call the cops. They have him arrested. They take him to a nut house. All right, here. This is the doctor, played by Frank Silvera, who was in 2 Stanley Kubrick movies. He was in
The Psych Ward,
Fear and Desire, and Killer's Kiss, I believe.
Sword to the scene about the Psych Ward.
No, it wasn't just that. This woman, Miss Berenson, the woman you think you're married to?
No, I'm married to, and her name isn't Berenson, it's Gurney.
I see you're going to require more proof. Well, that can be arranged.
The one thing
Come with me, please.
Your sarcasm.
You haven't met your fellow patient. That's Winston Churchill.
He had to be sarcastic about that, the doctor.
Poor chap. No one knows who he really is.
Siren has chosen to chime in a lot during this episode. I want to point out something that's very interesting, is that their attitude toward him, they treat him like he's an insect. He has no soul, no life, no identity.
The phone. Let me use the phone.
There's a little bit of pity in the woman that is his wife.
What number?
a little bit when he
Klondike
goes crazy. He says, "I'm Dave Gurney. This is my credit card. What happened to my credit
We have an
card?"
outside line, please.
But everybody else looks at him
Dr.
like he
Kozlenko.
doesn't exist.
Like he's...
Dishwasher's done.
They look at him, they neglect him like someone would neglect a shadow.
Yes.
Hello,
He
Pete.
is a shadow of his former self.
It's Dave.
Now in this bit, he's called. Dave is
Pete,
calling
it's
his
Dave
mom,
Gurney.
and his mom doesn't even know who he is, which is like, that's a knife to your heart. What if Mommy
Well, how do you
suddenly
like
looked
that?
at you and said, "I have no daughter"?
He's my best friend. We went to school together.
Regan? What kind of a name is Regan?
Morse?
If
Yes.
that happened, I'd
Yes,
take
call
so
Klondike
many shots,
5,
and
3,
then
4,
I'd jump
7,
out a
2.
window.
You know the thing about these. Okay, look at his. Look at the thing he's wearing there. He's wearing a smock. That's usually what they give you when they cut your hair at the barber. So he got a nice haircut.
Ask for Mrs. Gurney.
Is Mrs. Gurney there?
I'd like to speak with Mrs. Gurney, please. Just
That's
a moment.
Mom, right?
Hello, Mom. Oh, thank God, thank God. Mom.
It's Dave.
Oh, it's Dave. What's
Don't
the matter,
you
Mom?
know
Don't you
me?
recognize my voice? It's Dave,
Now listen here.
your son. Mom, now stop it. Don't do this to me,
Okay, I'm gonna
please.
stop it right there. So now, Dave totally bugs out. He flips out, and what does he do?
Jumps out a window.
And
Is totally unscarred.
his hair is perfect too. He jacks a van, and then he goes to a bar. And the thing about it is, he makes a lot of interesting comments there. He says, "I've done things, and I hang out with people that no one ever knows about, not even my wife. I'm going to go to those places." So he goes to Sam's bar, and he tells this guy, "We're friends."
I know your family, I know your name, and the guy's just like, who are you and why do you know this?
That is that attitude where they look at you and you realize this person doesn't know who I am. Any impact I made on them, they don't know. I can know all about them. They know nothing about me. What is that? What is the message of that?
I have no idea.
There's nothing more precious to us than what we are. What we know we are. But in the Twilight Zone, you're only making up half that. In the Twilight Zone, you are what you are, and then you are what everyone else thinks you are. And that is what makes up your identity. In modern psychotherapy, Carl Jung always assumed or estimated that what we are is a combination of everything we know and every person that we know. And they make up different aspects of our personalities. You take away half of that, you're going to have Dave Gurney. He keeps playing a cat and mouse game with whatever invisible force is out there to steal his identity. So he on the conversation with Sam, the bartender, he comes to the conclusion that maybe there's a picture.
It's like he goes to this, what do you call it? I don't know what to call it, but
Like a photo processing lab.
oh yeah, and he finds this photo of him and his wife, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And he looks at it, he sees that, and he tries to show it to the guy, who the guy who the psych ward guy comes to find him, and shows him the picture, but his quote unquote wife is gone.
Right, she mysteriously vanishes from the picture just at the point when he thinks he has proof. And so he flips out. He's like, we were together. So let's go to the end. Now his wife has I can already tell that his wife has a different body, and the fact that we're seeing her only from behind means that we're going to get a reveal.
What's the matter, Annie? You sound terrible. Did you have a nightmare?
Oh, baby. I had
People did a
the
lot of heavy
nightmare.
drinking back then because we didn't have diet
Granddaddy
soda.
of Mom.
Well, that'll teach
Here's
you
a fun
next
fact.
time
Diet
to
Coke,
martini.
Diet Pepsi was the first major diet
teach me,
product
all
for a
right.
soda other than Die It Right, come out, and it came out in 1964,
Myself.
which was 2 years after this episode.
Yeah, sure.
Well, you're in a rare mood.
Now we're going to get the reveal. Tell us what's happening, Regan.
She's like, when she takes off the thing off of her, she's a different person. Her face is different, prettier in my opinion, and she has a different hair color. Her hair color is lighter.
Honey, what's wrong? Are you ill? Dave, why are you looking at me
She's not only a
like that?
blonde, Regan. You're a blonde. She's a
Dave,
serious
honey?
bleach blonde.
I know.
Dave?
Hair like that.
A case of mistaken identity or a nightmare turned inside out. A simple loss of memory or the end of the world. David Gurney may never find the answer, but you can be sure he's looking for it. In the Twilight Zone.
All right. So that's how that episode ends. So does this make sense to you? This, again, is more illogic. Because he initially he woke up, nobody knew who he was. Then he wakes up again from a nightmare, and he doesn't know who his wife is. So what does that tell you? I mean, is it now the wife, the blonde?
Who's experiencing what he's experiencing?
I mean, she's like, Dave, why are you looking at me like that? I mean, it's like, is she going to go through this now? Or does he not know who his wife is? Or does he not know who anyone is based on this? What do you think?
It would be interesting if he didn't know who anybody else was. And he was just like the only person he knew in his entire life. Like, it would be the opposite of what he experienced in his nightmare, from what we understand.
So what did you think of this episode, Person or Persons Unknown?
It was interesting, again, because I have to say that again, because I have no other words for interesting.
Okay.
And, like, if I were to go through that, the type of person I would shut myself out from everything and probably just run away. Knowing the kind of person I am.
Right now at this stage you're talking about? The 10-year-old girl? Well, the 10-year-old girl would probably, a lot of people would just chalk up her confusion to being 10 years old and try to want to take care of you or something like that.
I wouldn't enjoy that.
No.
I have a mind.
Well, I wouldn't enjoy it either. This is a really good episode. I enjoy it. It's fun. It's schlocky. It's entertaining. Siren, did you like it? I don't think Siren liked it too much.
Now she isn't going to say anything. Instead, she's going to sniff my finger.
All right. I'm going to wrap this up. Finally, we're done with this. I think this had a shelf life of about 9 months, I would say. Next time, this is big. I will be discussing the episodes The Little People and 4 O'Clock with Shelley McKay Young, administrator of several Twilight Zone Facebook groups. Shelley graciously agreed to appear on her very first ever podcast with this guy. We already taped the episode, and I can tell you right now, she's a wonderful guest and a sweet person, which I hope I can say about Regan today.
Nah.
Were you wonderful and sweet?
Nah.
Well, anyway, thank you, Regan. Thank you for appearing on my show.
I have one more thing to say about
Go
the
ahead.
episodes.
Go ahead.
Both of the episodes have to do with something disappearing completely. Little Girl Lost, about a little girl and a dog disappearing into a different universe.
Mm-hmm.
And Person or Persons Unknown is about somebody's identity disappearing.
That's right.
Probably into a different universe.
Probably. I love you.
I love you too.
Okay. Of the endless trains of the faithless, of cities filled with the foolish, of myself forever reproaching myself, for who more foolish than I, and who more faithless? Of eyes that vainly crave the light of the objects mean, of the struggle ever renewed, of the poor results of all, of the plodding and sordid crowds I see around me, of the empty and useless years of rest, with the rest me intertwined, the question, O me, so sad, recurring, what good amid these, O me, O life? That was from Walt Whitman. Thank you very much for listening. Good night.
See ya. See ya, people who are watching this, because I am public now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm cool.